Hi, welcome along to the All Gunz Blazin podcast with Mr. DT and myself, Robbie, where we talk all things Arsenal. We ain't done this for ages, have we, man?
I know, you've been too busy.
Yeah, man. You've been behaving yourself, by the way.
Yeah, I've been behaving myself. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, right.
I'm blocking people on social media now. I'm kind of...
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm getting past that stage now where I need to row with everyone.
Stop arguing with everybody individually and stuff like that.
You know what? There's no harm in debates. There's no harm in a bit of healthy discussion.
But I see some of your discussions, man, and it's like, it's off the meter stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you're starting to come off of that, yeah?
Yeah.
You're mellowing.
Yeah, I'm chilling out a bit. Maybe I'm acting my age, maybe not.
New season started, you probably go off the meter again. But wanted to talk today about, obviously, a massive game coming up at the weekend. Liverpool versus Arsenal. And also wanted to talk about transfers. Now, actually, I'm going to start with transfers, right? Because now, this is one of the arguments I've seen with you and people on Twitter. Now, you came out with it very bold, even telling me as well that, Robbie, we are definitely 100% signing Thomas Lemar. It's done. My contacts, this, that. Well, Wenger's come out and he said that the deal is dead. Monaco don't want to sell Thomas Lemar, and that deal won't be happening. Got it wrong, man.
Yeah, listen, everyone gets... Jesus Christ. Do you know what, right? People need to understand about transfers. Things happen. You look at some transfers, there's been some where they've even had medicals and photographs taken and they've fallen through. My guy that told me, I trust my guy, I listen to what he says. He's the same guy that gives me the team selections and stuff like that. And I've never been wrong. From what I know...
Till now.
From what I know is like, it was already done and in place. Monaco shifted the goalposts a few little pieces over the length of, the payments and stuff like that. And I don't know all the full ins and outs of it, but when Wenger says that, it's dead because we're not willing to pay what Monaco now want. Lemar,
well, I don't know, because also my understanding with people that I know was that he was, after Lacazette, he was the number one target. He's the player that they definitely wanted. I think that they see him as the long-term replacement for Alexis Sanchez, right? So he's the guy they wanted to get in. They've identified that he's like one of the most talented youngsters around in French football right now. They definitely wanted him. But I think Monaco just don't want to sell. They're in a position at the moment where, they've got all this money in for all these players like Bernardo Silva, Mendy, all of those players have gone out and they've got a massive amount of money in for them. Mbappe looks like he's going to go to PSG. Again, they're going to get a king's ransom for that. They don't need to sell. And if they, remember, they are still in the Champions League. Their fans are getting a bit unhappy about the whole situation. I saw the other day that their fans wrote a letter criticising Mbappe. So they can't afford to lose everybody, you know what I mean? Because they still got Fabinho, who loads of teams want him, and of course Lemar. So I'm not sure if it's really so much down to money and just the fact that, like Wenger said, that they're saying that they're not interested in selling him right now. They don't have to because they don't need the money. And if they don't need the money and a player's on a long-term contract, unlike our players that are not, got 1 year left and things like that, they don't have to sell.
But the thing is, if Arsenal would have gone out there and dealt with it when I was first saying this, then it would have been all right.
No, they have put in decent offers, haven't they? I mean, £45 million for Thomas Lemar.
In today's market.
But for Thomas Lemar, £45 million, is he worth more than that? He's had one great season.
But in today's market. This is what you've got to understand. I see a comment yesterday from Wenger when he's saying that it's all out of proportion. Well,
it is.
Sorry, ticket prices are out of proportion.
True.
His salary's out of proportion. Yeah, there's so many things out of proportion in football. Deal with it. You get paid a lot of money. So go out there, live with the times, and go and do it.
But it is inflated, isn't it? I mean, look at Coutinho.
Well, of course it is.
Coutinho, 130 million. And don't get me wrong, he's a wonderful player. I would have him at Arsenal.
But he's not worth that.
I would have him at Arsenal tomorrow. But he's not worth 130 million pounds. The market is very inflated at the moment.
Everything in the world is inflated. I remember when Space Raiders used to be 10p. They're not anymore. Do you know what I mean? Everything in the world, Robbie, is inflated, and it's kind of. But we're the only club that seem to sit there with our mouth open, going, "Oh my God, it's inflated! Wow!" Everyone else deals with it and goes, "Right, it's inflated." But you know what? We're getting so much money with the TV deals and everything else. There's one of the reasons why it's so inflated.
Are we going to buy anyone else? I mean, you know,
right now,
market 31st of August. That's it, slam shut. We going to buy anyone else?
I don't know.
Do we need anyone else?
Is there any players out there with broken backs? You know, might have to be another Kim Karlstrom, but...
Do we need anyone?
Yeah, of course we do. Of course we do. Defence, centre midfield. If you think that this team that finished 5th are going to just bring in Kolasinac, and Lacazette, and all of a sudden be title contenders, you are deluded. You know, our defence already this season, you've seen people sit there and say to me, yes, but there's been players missing and everything. Listen, even with those players, we conceded 55 Premier League goals last season. So even with those players, you know, we didn't have the best defence in the league last year. It ain't like, if we had the best defence in the league last year, and this had happened at the start, you could go, all right, it's because Koscielny's missing, it's because Mustafi's just come back, it's because of... But it isn't. We've had defensive problems for years. When has Arsene Wenger ever addressed it? He hasn't. He went
out last year and he bought Mustafi.
And it looks like he might be going.
Well,
and this is the thing. When asked about players going out this morning, he was very, 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 very specific in stating Alexis Sanchez is not going anywhere. He was very specific in saying that Oxlade-Chamberlain is not going anywhere. I want him to sign and be a part of the future. When he was asked about Mustafi, he then started saying about, well, you know, we've got this many days left in the window.
Let's see if I can find a quote.
Anything can happen, sort of thing between now. And I'm sitting there
Mustafi,
going...
he says, it's difficult for me to talk about individual cases. I don't expect him to go out, he said. And then there was a further quote. I'm just trying to find it here. All right, so he said, no, I don't expect, right? That's when they asked him, do you think he's going to go out? It's difficult for me to talk about any individual cases. It's always very difficult to predict what will happen and how you will respond to any situation. Which makes me, I'm thinking to myself, because Juventus and Inter Milan have both made inquiries.
So it's very clear that someone's inquired.
About Mustafi. And when I read into that, it's like, it's always very difficult to predict what will happen and how you will respond to any solicitation, not situation, to any solicitation. You just think to yourself, well, if somebody comes in with a big enough bid, he might sell Mustafi. But then if he sells Mustafi, what's the replacement?
Exactly. Because I looked at it yesterday and I sat there and went, right, it looks like we're not going to get rid of Callum Chambers.
But he hadn't even played a game.
But that's the thing. Why are you not using him? You used him for 45 minutes in the Emirates Cup and then he disappeared again. So what's actually going on? Are you going to keep him? Are you going to bring him into the fold? I think that in a 3, Callum Chambers is really good. He's probably Middlesbrough's best player last year. But in a 4, and when he's played out of position, there's a surprise. Wenger playing players out of position. He looks really vulnerable. When he played on that right-hand side, you remember what Montero did to him at Swansea?
All right, do we commend Arsene Wenger with the Sanchez thing? He's saying here, he says, I've had to deal with these situations many times in my life with big departures, big players leaving. I always focus on the team. If it happens, you have to find a way to survive at the top level. You don't focus too much on individual players. But he was saying that basically he's already told Sanchez that he's not selling him, and Sanchez has accepted that. And on Oxlade-Chamberlain, he said that he doesn't want to sell him as well. I want to keep my best players, We've invested a lot of time and money into players like Chamberlain. For me, he has a responsibility to the club. So, on the responsibility to the club thing, I mean, I don't know what Lucas Perez would be thinking about that statement. But on the Alexis thing, do you commend Arsene Wenger for having this stance where saying, you know what, even if we lose him at the end of the season for nothing, I think he's worth keeping?
I don't think he's got a choice. I think that if everything was rosy in the garden and we were actually going out there and buying replacements and actually active in the window, then we might let Alexis go and the fans might actually take that in a sense that, you know, we're proactive, we're doing something about it.
Is there a replacement for him now? Who do you replace Alexis Sanchez with right now?
It's really difficult, isn't it? You don't. We've got 8 days of the window left, I think, something like that. Are you going to replace Alexis Sanchez? No chance. If you give him to Man City, you're basically saying, there's the title.
Should we just pay him? He reportedly wants £400,000 a week. Should we just pay him that? If you think about transfer fees, going out and buying a replacement for Sanchez, you're going to be talking about spending 50, 60 million pounds, or well, no, replacing Sanchez like for like, now you'd probably be talking about 100 million.
Well, more than that.
Right, so 400,000 a week, you may as well keep him, huh?
Yeah.
Give him that money.
Give him the money that he wants because he's the one player in the team that's actually earned the right to call what he wants. He's the one player.
Would you sell Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Yeah.
You would, for 35 million?
You know what? If he's trying to hold the club to ransom, he's got no right to hold the club to ransom. He's not Alexis.
Yeah, but he's
right? The guy scored about 6 goals in 6 years.
He's one of our most exciting players at the moment.
At the moment, yeah, but don't hold the club to ransom because
listen to this now.
He's not done enough. In my opinion, Oxlade-Chamberlain's not done enough.
Who would you say is better right now, Oxlade-Chamberlain or Theo Walcott?
Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Theo Walcott's on £140,000 a week.
Yeah.
So what do I do? If I'm Oxlade-Chamberlain, what do I do then? Say, right, I'll take 100.
I know. Listen.
And he's on
140. Don't get me wrong.
That's what he's just wants parity, doesn't it?
Don't get me wrong. I understand. We've made a rod for our own back. It's our own fault by giving people like Theo Walcott 140 grand. The reason why we can't sell Theo Walcott is because there's no other idiot willing to pay Walcott 140 grand a week.
Yeah, but you know, you'll say that now. You'll say idiot and why did we give him that money and stuff like that.
I've said for a long time
and
about
it was guys like you at the time saying, Theo, sign the ting.
No, I wasn't.
Sign the ting.
Didn't see me make no song about sign the ting.
But I bet you any money you was out there saying sign the ting.
Mate.
There was people making tunes. There was loads and loads of people chanting it. There was loads of people saying, sign him up, sign Theo. He signed 140 grand a week.
You know what?
What are you moaning about?
Way back then, right?
Can't say that Wenger's an idiot.
Arsenal fans were desperate. Yeah, Arsenal fans were desperate.
Well, this is the...
Because you know what, Robbie? We were so sick of losing so many players, yeah, that we get desperate after a time. This is what happens. It's the same with transfers.
So you can't then now with this, people can't be blaming Wenger for this.
You can because you still don't give him 140 grand.
Well, that's the only way he was going to sign the ting.
He's not good enough, man. It's just,
that was the only way he was going to sign the ting.
I tell you, right, I look at it and I sit there and I say, is there better than Theo Walcott out there? Yes, there is. Riyad Mahrez. He's better than Theo Walcott. I'd rather give Riyad Mahrez 140 grand a week because I know at least he can perform. Do you know what I mean? I look at Oxlade.
Although Theo Walcott did score more goals than Riyad Mahrez last season.
Yeah. Mahrez, you know what, Leicester, something was internally wrong at Leicester after everything that they went through, and I think the pressures of winning the league the season after, you know, there was clear problems with Ranieri. I think it affected everyone. The moment Ranieri left, Mahrez and Vardy started playing like they did the year that they won the league. Start of this season, Riyad Mahrez has started to look more his old self.
So
Jamie Vardy.
So let's go back. So you cash in on Ox.
Well, the thing is, we don't know the full extent of what's going on. Let me make this straight. I love Oxlade-Chamberlain. I love him. I think he's really starting to develop as a player. But is he looking at the situation and saying, where we're all going, right wing back? He looks brilliant there. Is he going, I don't want to be a right wing back. I want to be a centre midfielder. So
you give 35 million, you take that, make him go to Chelsea.
No, this is the thing.
Then you see him come back blazing up the place.
But this is the thing. It's if he's not, what I'm saying is, right, is if he's not willing to sign a new contract, if he's saying, no, full stop. If Arsenal are offering him big money, like 140 grand, and he's saying, no, I want near 200, for example, then cash in.
All right.
Because I think he's going way over the top.
Sell Mesut Ozil.
No.
Why? What's he done?
Because
what did he do last
Because
year?
I'm sick and tired of people making that guy the scapegoat. I'm sick to death of it, Robbie. Kevin De Bruyne had an awful game the other night against Everton. Do you see people picking on him?
Good point.
They don't. Mesut Ozil was the scapegoat.
I didn't think he played that badly
exactly.
last week either.
The thing is, right,
it.
at the Stoke game, I was sitting next to a guy I know very well, who is one of Mesut Ozil's biggest critics. And I was sitting there in the second half and I said, watch Ozil. I said, look at him. He's literally trying everything he can to open the door. He was right, centre, left, centre, right. He was all over the place. And I was like, look at him. Watch what he's doing. And he goes, do you know what? Seeing it at first hand, live and watching proper detail of what Ozil's doing.
He didn't have a bad game.
He didn't. But who got made the scapegoat? Martin Keown and Steven Gerrard are absolutely slating him. And I'm sitting there and thinking,
But I think what it is, you know what it is with Ozil though, right? It's when he doesn't have the ball. And I do agree with him
But
on
it's
that.
not his job.
Hold on. I agree with him on that, right? That when he ain't got the ball, he's like, you've got 10 players. He does nothing. He doesn't try and put in a tackle. He doesn't even try and get his body.
Listen,
sometimes, you're not a tackler or anything, but you just get your body in to put someone off. He does nothing.
Let me explain
And in English
something.
football, we know what it's like, right? We know with football fans. We want to see a bit of effort.
Listen,
And he doesn't.
I'm going to explain something
That's the
here,
thing
right?
with Ozil. He doesn't show that effort sometimes.
They blamed him for the goal that we conceded, right, for not getting back. Hold on a minute. Mesut Ozil had made a nice little diagonal movement to pick up the pocket of space for a very, very simple pass from Granit Xhaka to go into him. Granit Xhaka gave the ball away. Second game in a row he's done that there.
Yep.
It's now cost us a goal. Instead of actually blaming the person who gave the ball away and created the mess, they picked out Ozil.
I blame Xhaka, but why can't Ozil get back? What makes him so special?
He was unable to get back. But he tried, but he was unable to get back.
But what makes him so special that he can't get back? That does happen a lot with him.
Yeah.
What is so special about him?
But then let's look at the other situation.
Hold on, is he such a luxury that he doesn't have to get back?
Listen, what you also need to look at is that when that move broke down, Aaron Ramsey was in the striker's position. You're playing in a double pivot in midfield and you are in the striker's position. So let's look at that as well, as to why you was all the way there.
So if he's pushed forward, then Ozil needs to have a bit of discipline to cover back.
No, because it's not Ozil's game.
Do you remember at Chelsea with Hazard, right? He's a similar sort of player to Ozil in that he's a forward-thinking, super skillful player, creates a lot. Do you remember what Mourinho said to him?
I don't care what Mourinho
said. But you have to. No, but listen, it's a great point in that Mourinho said to him. He goes, "Yeah, you're great going forward, and that you don't do enough work for the team. It's only for yourself. You need to start doing more stuff for the team." I think that's true of Ozil as well.
At the end of the day, there might be little things that he needs to do, yeah, but stop making a scapegoat of him. At the end of the day, he still created chances. It ain't his fault that Danny Welbeck was on the end of those chances. The guy can't even head a ball properly now. I sat there and said to you weeks ago that the guy can't
make him
shoot.
Scapegoat now.
No, listen, not about making a scapegoat. It's about stating facts. I said to you weeks ago that Danny Welbeck, when he gets into a situation to shoot, he can't kick a ball properly. The ball comes over 6 yards out. He's got a free header. He misses the header and it hits his shoulder. So he can't even head. His timing is complete.
He scored the week before though, didn't he?
And he fell over.
Still scored.
But he fell over.
Does it make a difference?
But this is what I'm saying. How many chances did he have?
That wasn't as easy. If you look at that chance, even though it was an easy chance that you should score, the ball was sort of behind him. That's why he kind of fell over.
At the end of the day, Mesut Ozil created chances. Mesut Ozil was creating chances.
I love Ozil.
Right? At the end of the day, right, let's look at Kante, for example, at Chelsea, right? He's a defensive midfielder, right? His job is to sit, defend, break up. His game is not about scoring goals and setting up attacks and everything else, right? So no one has a go at him about that. Everyone's like, Kante, brilliant defensive midfielder. Oh, he needs to get a few more goals though. He needs to get a few more assists though, because he's doing his job. Mesut Ozil is an attacking midfielder, a number 10. His job is not to defend, not to get back.
I've always understood over the years that when you play in the midfield, right?
It's midfield
Part of your responsibility is to get back as well.
Yeah, this is not the midfield of old. We're not playing at Hackney Marshalls.
I know he's an attacking midfielder, but as a midfielder, right, you do even strikers nowadays, right? I saw Lacazette track him back, right? I saw Lacazette, you know, when we were under pressure, getting back in there and get a tackle in. Why can't Ozil do that, right?
Listen,
you can't carry players.
Ozil's job.
You cannot. We know that Ozil's job, his primary job is to create.
And he
does. But that doesn't mean, right, that you're something special that,
But it's not that.
The team's on the attack. I'll leave it at that.
It's not that. I saw him tracking back,
Tony
and
Cruz,
I saw him.
When I watched Tony Cruz, right, when he's playing for Real Madrid, I see him getting back and helping out. I even see guys like Bale and that getting back and helping out. I'm sorry, Ozil, yes, that's not your primary job, but you can. We're giving the ball away in midfield. It's a dangerous situation. Why can't you get back and help out?
Right, first and foremost, when that ball was lost, Ozil was already ahead of the play, right? He'd already got himself into a position for the attack, right?
So why Keown and that blaming him for it on that?
Don't talk to me about Keown, man. He's another in Wenger's pocket. Sick and
no,
tired.
He's not.
Yes, he is.
I've met Martin Keown.
Listen, I don't care who you met. I don't care.
He's
At the end of the day, no. He's another one. He's another one, man.
What I was going to say is this. I've met Keown, and Keown has been quite critical of Arsene Wenger.
Not in public. Not in public he won't be. Not in public he won't be because he would lose his rights. No, not having it. Not having it. At the end of the day, stop picking on Mesut Ozil, man. People need to stop picking on him because it's annoying me. It's really annoying me.
Not like you don't have a go at nobody, you know what I mean? You don't have a go at any players, you know what I mean?
Listen, you can have a go. You can have a go at players.
You don't have a go at no one, do you?
You can have a go at players.
You don't pick on no one.
You can have a go at players when they're not playing right and they're not performing or they're doing things wrong. But what I'm saying is that there's a very clear agenda against Mesut Ozil because the guy is constantly getting scapegoat for everything that happens.
All right, Mesut Ozil this week is a big game against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Right, we need Ozil to step up in this game, right? Our record against Liverpool, last 5 games, Liverpool last season beat us 3-1 at their place, spanked us, man. 3-1. That was a terrible performance by Arsenal.
3-3 the year before.
Beat us 4-3 at their place. Year before, 3-3, they got that last minute. 0-0, and then 4-1 we beat. So in recent times, they've had it over us.
There was a 2-2 in there as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, last 4 games we ain't beaten them, right? How are we going to get a result at Liverpool? I think it's very important now that Arsenal do not get beaten at the weekends, right? Because if they do, we saw it last week, people start coming out moaning about the manager, stuff like that, which I thought was very unfair, by the way. Fans, really, I know his formation wasn't great at the weekend, but I thought the team did enough to win that game. And I think it was very unfair, some of the criticism of Arsene Wenger.
See, I wasn't even that overcritical of him. I just wanted answers for certain players in certain positions.
The problem Arsene's got, of course, is that he stayed on and he's always going to... People are going to be like, oh, you've gone to Liverpool again and you haven't won. It's important that we get a result there. It could actually, if we went there and got a result and won, it could actually be a real turning point in our season. Now, can Arsenal go there with Mesut Ozil, with everybody? Sanchez apparently may be fit enough to play some part in the game.
He's starting.
Koscielny should be back. Can Arsenal go there with Lacazette in there now? Kolasinac, guys like this. Can we go there and finally win at Liverpool?
We can do, but it's what team turns up. At the end of the day, this is the thing we don't know anymore. We've been hit so hard in these kind of games that we go into them with zero confidence. So is that now reflecting on the players as well? Do they go into it believing that they can't?
We went there with a decent team last year. We went there.
Exactly.
Alexis was playing.
No. Alexis was put on the bench for Liverpool last year.
Sorry, you're right.
Randomly.
You're right.
Let's go into a massive game, but put Alexis on the bench.
I forgot about that.
Do you know what I mean?
I remember when the team sheet came out that day, everyone was like, what?
You know what I mean?
I remember I was outside with troops, right? He nearly went into a meltdown when he saw the team sheet.
That's what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, it's like Koscielny's back. You know, he's had long enough to rest and recover from his long-standing Achilles injury and whatnot. He has to play. Mustafi has to play. I don't think Rob Holding's going to come into the team by what Arsene Wenger said.
Would you go 3 at the back?
The thing is, we're going to have to stick with what we're going with. Right
Why?
now, well,
what's this obsession all of a sudden?
No, because
with 3 at the back. You play 3 at the back if you're playing against a team where you need to play 3 at the back.
Do you know what? We played 3 at the back and it worked so well last season, and that's why I think he's kind of stuck with it. And I think the problem is that when for the first couple of games where we had defenders missing, I think that's where Wenger made his mistake, and he should have said, right, we need to just revert back to 4 at the back. We need to just, shut up shop. If we win the games 1-0 and it's not amazing, attacking, expansive football, then so be it. Let's just get the job done until we get key personnel back in them areas so that we can then play 3 at the back. We've got Koscielny back. Mustafi's got 90 minutes under his belt. Don't think Rob Holding's going to play by what Wenger said. He pulled him out of the Stoke game completely because his confidence is shot after Leicester. So will he throw him back in a game against Liverpool that have got players like Mane? Doubt it. That's the one player that I think that we've got to watch. Mane, massively. Because I know, but he seems to be their main guy right now. He seems to be the guy.
Not just Mane, Salah.
Yeah, but but Mane.
Firmino, they're a very dangerous team going forward, man. You know what I mean? Wijnaldum, or I can never pronounce. Wijnaldum, they've got a dangerous team. Although, on the flip side, probably no Coutinho, no Lallana as well, who were brilliant last year in those games.
And defensively, they're as bad as us.
Defensively, they're very, very poor, particularly on the left-hand side. And, of course, remember, they've just had a Champions League qualifying game, even though they won it, and they won it emphatically, but they've had to play a game.
Even in that, they conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, but they've had to play a game.
Yeah.
So...
And they put a lot into
We've got a chance to go there and do something, and I think... But are we brave enough to go there and do something? Are we gonna, or is it gonna be the same old Arsenal that we saw in a lot of away games last season?
Honestly, don't know. I think Alexis is going to start. Honestly, I think he's that type of player. He's that breed. He's that person that he don't need 20 minutes here and there just to try and get him up to speed. Arsene Wenger's already said that where he is a little bit rusty because he hasn't played in a while. The moment he goes into match mode in training, it's like it's like something switches, bang. The guy's been in the red zone and they've told him to rest, and they've caught him in the gym with rucksacks full of weights running on fastest speed on treadmills and stuff. The guy's an absolute nutcase. And I just think that because of everything, I think that it will lift everyone as well, including the supporters, because, hearing that this morning in a press conference that he is ready, he's in the squad, he's back, is kind of like, it made me smile.
Getting ready for City.
Yeah, listen, but it's, you know what, the only thing that worries me, right, I'll tell you what really worries me is that after Sunday, it's the international break, and we've got like a 4 or 5 day period before the transfer window shuts. Players are not going to be at home base. They're not going to be where we know. I can't wait outside London Colney and kidnap his dogs. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's going to be off wherever Chile are playing, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, I don't know whether he's going to be off with England and whatnot. I don't know if they're friendlies or qualifiers. I'm thinking qualifiers, aren't they? Proper qualifiers. So they're proper games. So, and the same with Mesut Ozil. I presume he will be off with Germany and whatnot. I've got no worries about Mesut Ozil leaving in this window, to be quite honest. It's more Alexis and Oxlade-Chamberlain that people are looking at. But it's... Yeah, I just think that he'll start. I just think they'll start instead of Danny Welbeck. I think he'll go in that role behind Lacazette.
Who's going to win? Give us your predictions on the game.
Oh, man. No matter what I call, I'm going to get called deluded, aren't I? If I say that Liverpool are going to beat us, then I'm not a real Arsenal fan. And if I say Arsenal win, then I'm a deluded.
Let's be honest, man. Let's be honest.
I think we can get at Liverpool's defence, but then they can get at ours. If you look at, like you said, some of them games recently, there's been goals. Do you know what? I'd go away from there with a point, honestly.
I think it's going to be a draw as well. I'm going to go...
I'd go with 2-2.
Because I agree with you. I think both defences have been shocking. I was watching Liverpool's down the left-hand side with Moreno, and I don't know, they might bring in a couple of the kids that they've got up there for the weekend. But I think what works in Arsenal's favour is that, as I said, they're not defending great at the moment. And also, I look at it and I say to myself, they had a game during the week, a Champions League game. They're bound to make a couple of changes, bit of fatigue. We know what it's like when you play straight after a Champions League game. Arsenal will be the fresher team. If Alexis comes back in and that as well, guys like, I feel if Welbeck plays Lacazette, that pace that we've seen in the last 2 games up front, I think that will trouble Liverpool a lot. I think a high-scoring draw.
I think
2-2 or 3-3. I can see it.
I actually think Alexis is key to this game because the one thing that I noticed is, and I've got a lot of mates that are Liverpool fans, and I've spoken to them, and they said to me the one player that they're absolutely scared, livid of, is Alexis Sanchez. And it was, like you said, we was at Anfield last year, and the moment there was such shock on Arsenal fans' faces when Alexis was on the bench, but there was such joy in Liverpool's fans' faces when they.
Liverpool fans, I was chatting to outside. They was about to throw a party when they.
Do you know what I mean? And then the moment Alexis came on at the start of the second half, you could feel. And then one of the first things Alexis done was something that we didn't do for the first 45, which was go at the back four, and you could feel it within the stands as you say, "Oh no," because they knew he could get into their back four. And I just feel that he could be that little difference. We noticed it with Stoke. I'd loved for him to have been there. You imagine that last 20 minutes when we were trying to chase a goal. If Alexis was the one that was coming on with 20 minutes to go, when you need someone to pick the pocket, find a little space, just pull something out of the hat, he's the man. You know.
Okay.
And
so you go and draw as well?
I'll go with a draw. I'll sit on the fence, but
okay.
We can cause each other as many problems. You know,
Okay.
they can cause us problems and we can cause them. I think the defence is what's going to win and lose this game as much as the attack. So.
Okay, well, great to have you back. The podcast is back. We're going to be doing these every week. We're going to be having guests on this year. We're going to be sometimes doing it in different locations. And it's great to be back. I'm looking forward to the game this weekend. Don't forget to leave your comments below. Mr. DT, good to have you back in the building. I'm sure you get on the phone after we finish the podcast, speak to your contact. See who else we got coming.
Such a waste, man. You're such a waste, man.